Hey everyone, I am showing you all the books that I read in January. I am going to update my reading journal for January. I move on to the goals page and I look at my key in the back, which is just on post-it notes, and I need to fill in one box for 150 books. I think each box, I forget what it represents, but hopefully I read the key right and I filled it out correctly. I also filled out 3 boxes for the 50,000 pages, and then 1 box for nonfiction and 1 for middle school books, which is exciting, and 1 chunky book. So I actually made some really good progress on my goals for January. Then I put 1,000 Broken Pieces as my favorite, filled in the monthly stats, which I have the total books and then broken down by physical and audio, total pages, hours listened, 5 stars, and the average rating. And of course, I'll go into more of those monthly stats when I do the actual January pages. I did reel formats for each of my book reviews, and so that's why the Goodreads is already filled out. So I just added January on top of it. I have 2 ABC books, and then a Book Lovers. I have 1 of those, and also 1 for the other challenge, which is like reading through the decades. And then you can see here I filled out my calendar page and all the different books that I read, and now I'm going to start on the stats page. So every year I make a stats page for each of the months, and every year I try to change it up just a little bit, mainly with the placement of where I want the various stats. So trying something different with my design. We'll see if I like it and if it works, but I am sticking with the title up at the top, which is January Stats. I have done in the past the title All the Stats, and then that way I could carry that same title throughout the whole entire year. I think I did that for 2023, but this year I decided to just do the month and then the word stats. You can see I was trying to find an ink that would go well with what the colors I already had on my calendar page, and I decided on this really bright blue that I have, and the stamp set is from Ali Edwards, and I love how it's an outline and then a solid, and I don't stamp it exactly straight. Like, I draw a straight line, but I don't always get it straight, and I'm totally okay with that. It's not a big deal in the end. So the other thing that I'm going to try that's different with this stats page is that for each of the different categories, or for each of the different stats, I am going to use the markers that I used on the calendar page to kind of make a little marker box, so that way I can highlight each section. I guess that'll make more sense when I do it the first time, but okay, so I'm doing large stamped numbers for the total number of books, and then right next to that I will have the total number of pages using numbers from Ali Edwards. All my stamps today are from Ali Edwards, or for this monthly project. So I stamped 10, which is the total number of books, and then I will draw my line with a Sharpie. And below that, that's when I will grab the markers and draw like some lines with the markers, and then use my Sharpie pen to write the stat after the marker pen dries. So total number of pages was 3,432, which was really awesome. Pretty good start to the month. I pull out my markers so that way I can figure out which markers I used for the January calendar page when I was coloring it in. I did not save the markers or like take a picture of which markers I used. That would have been helpful. I'll definitely remember that for February. But I have several markers that will work and coordinate well with January. So you can see I just did the marker lines. Now I can write total books and total pages. And I offset the two stats. That way it just, they're not on the same line. It just makes it like visually interesting. At least that's what I was going for. I used a period as a comma and just kind of stamped half of it. I don't know. I think it kind of works, and I'm just going to go with it. So I have 5 paper books, 4 audiobooks, and 1 Kindle. So I guess the winner this month was reading physical books, because in total it was 6 books that I read. And I forgot to add up how many books I read for a challenge, but I think there was quite a few books that I read for a challenge, because I have 2 book lovers challenges. It's 2 sisters, I believe, that host a bunch of challenges, but one of them is Lifetime of Reading, where you read from the start, like kids, all the way up into 90s, so like each of the characters, and for each of the months, you read a different age group. So that's Lifetime of Reading. And then Book Lovers, that's different books that have to do with books, if that makes sense. But the first one was characters connecting through books, and I read the reading list for that book, for that theme. Yes, I think that's the word. But I really enjoyed the reading list. It was a fantastic book about the characters being connected through books and really finding a way to kind of move forward with the direction that their lives were going despite the obstacles. And then the other challenge that I worked on was my Friends Challenge, where I take the books that people recommend and I try them out. I read 3 of those. Well, I read 2 and I listened to 1. You can see over on my stats page, I'm working on the graph. I put it in the bottom left-hand corner. I had a pretty wide range of how I rated books. I even had one that was 3.75. That was The Berry Pickers. That was a recommended friend book. Recommended by a friend. It just was a story that did not resonate with me. I was really disappointed in the characters, and I felt like overall The Berry Pickers was a very sad book. Like, one decision completely altered so many lives, and nobody really wanted to atone for it. And when they did, it was too late, nearly too late. And it just, I don't know. It was sad, just a very overall sad book. And I guess you could say it was kind of realistic too, in the way that it was emotional and sad, but didn't resonate with me. But my overall average rating was 4.28, which is actually pretty high, because I did have 3 books that I rated 4, and then 3 that were 4.25. I'm going to start over on the right-hand side, and I make a thick marker, like square rectangle, so that way I can stack the words hours listened, but I did not give the marker enough time to dry, so I had to grab a second piece of dot paper and then draw it again and do it again, just to make sure that I let the marker dry, because it kind of smudged, and that would have bugged me just to leave the word smudged, so I had to fix it. Total hours listened was 36.32, which is really good. I really listen to more audiobooks during the weekends, like when I'm off work. Wish I could listen more, but that's just the way it goes. And any listening is better than none. That's what I always say. So I let my marker piece dry and I cut it, and now I can adhere it down and then write down hours listened. I don't know why, but I thought it would be fun to just stack those 2 words together, just do something different. I don't think any of my other stats I stacked together. I also wanted to have one other place where I could put a large number, and so I decided that I would do the average days to finish. I would make that a large number. Storygraph came up with that statistic for me, so it was easy to add that in. I also this year am doing something different by adding in my favorite and my least fave book. I didn't want to say I don't know. I just wanted to put it politely that it was my least fave, because not every book is going to resonate with every single person. And like I said, I think it's a good story overall, but it's just, for me, it was very sad and I didn't resonate with the characters, and that's just the way it is. So my favorite was Thousand Broken Pieces, and least fave was the Berry Pickers. Then I'm going to do my genres. I did like 3 lines for genres since I read such a wide range of genres. I have literary, romance, historical, middle grade, magical realism, memoir, history, young adult, and fantasy. I read it all, a wide spectrum of genres. And I'm telling you, I wish Goodreads would add a few more genres to their list of genres, like biopic. That would be really nice if they would add one of those. Or female, male author. I don't know, just a little bit more variety. So I thought about how I was going to put my circle pie chart for the moods, and I didn't know if I was going to put it in the bottom right or the left, but I decided on the left, and I'm really happy with that decision because I was able to add one last stat in the bottom right corner, and that is going to be the nonfiction percentage. I have a percentage stat this year, and I am so excited. It's just a little thing that I added, and I'm so happy with it. So I use, again, a 2-inch circle to draw my moods or break down my moods that Storygraph gives me. I stick with 6 different colors. I feel like trying to pick 6 different coordinating colors is plenty. I probably should do 5 or 4, but 6 is good. And then I can use the different markers to highlight which section it represents. And of course, I always wind up with emotional as my biggest chunk. Well, I would say 9 out of 12 months, I would say I wind up with emotional as my biggest chunk. So that's just what I tend to go towards. And then the second one that I had this month was reflective, which was definitely interesting. I don't even remember which books it said was reflective, but it was nice to have that stat. And then the next one was hopeful. And then the fourth one was sad, and then inspiring. And the last chunk was other. So it was definitely an interesting mix of books. I would not say the happiest set of books for January. Definitely had me thinking, a little bit heavier of subjects, and yeah, not the happiest of way to start the year, I guess you could say. But that's okay. I was really excited to get started on my challenges and try the new books and, jump headfirst into reading and starting on, like I said, the challenges and my goals. So I did that. And now in February, I'm focusing more on love story type books and enjoying that. Right now, I'm reading The 3 Lives of Kate K. So that is very interesting. And again, a book that was really popular, everybody loved. And I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. I'm still not quite sure what to think of it, and I haven't quite finished it yet. So down on the bottom, I did 20% nonfiction, which again, I'm very excited to have a percentage stat in my reading journal. I don't think I've ever had one, so very excited. I wanted to add something else to the spread. Normally I do stamping in various spots or, cluster stamping, something like that. For this month, I just added in some really old washi tape. It barely peeled off the roll, and I think after this, I just threw it away. But it's a polka dot black scallop washi. Put some down at the bottom to connect the 2 pages, and then over by the January stats. And it made for a cute little addition to the page to kind of bring it all together. And I think I'm going to show you all of my pages that I have. So I have the calendar and the books and then the stats, and I also have a good start on my reviews. I only have 2 left. I had spots for 2 more in-depth reviews. So I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing my January reading journal update. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you're new to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.